Lifting up our hearts to heaven, let us imitate the hierarchy of the angels.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory be to Jesus Christ. But what I wanted to talk to you about today, as you probably have read in the bulletin, is a couple of things related to J.R.R. Tolkien. And what I wanted to begin with is a phrase that he coined. The phrase, or the word, is Eucatastrophe. Now what that means specifically is something that is more or less of a calamity, something terrible, that must happen, or that did happen, in order that something greater may come. Now, he, being a devout Roman Catholic, looked at this as the epitome of what the passion and resurrection of Christ were. It was the greatest example of eucatastrophe. That we had to, quite literally, kill God in the flesh in order that he may save us. A horrible calamity. But, in regards to the Sunday of Orthodoxy that this is, and the sort of restoration of holy icons into our worship, something that has been legitimized, I wanted to read from you a passage from Tolkien's sort of initial history before The Lord of the Rings, in a book called The Silmarillion. And in it, he had, in a very Orthodox style, I'm not the only priest to sort of make these connections, just so you don't think I'm a lone wolf out here making my own theology. He had made a history for his own books, very in keeping with what dogmatic theology would have. There's only one God, and that God has created. But the way in which he describes it is very beautiful. And so I will begin from the first sentences of what is called the Annalindale. There was Eru, the One, who in Arda is called Iluvatar, and he made the first Ainur, the holy ones, that were the offspring of his thought. And they were with him before aught else was made. And he spoke to them, propounding to them themes of music. And they sang before him, and he was glad. For a long while they sang, only each alone, but a few together, while the rest hearkened, for each comprehended only that part of the mind of Iluvatar from which he came. The idea that the creation was in this beautiful music, it was in a symphony, is, one, just something beautiful to think about, but two, very in keeping with Orthodox theology, that God created in beauty, God created in perfection, and that the music that we offer back to God is just partaking in God's essential beauty of creation. But what I wanted to really read is sort of the eucatastrophe in this moment. The devil, the one who is against God in Tolkien's writings, is named Melkor. And so, then Iluvatar spoke, and he said, Mighty are the Ainur, the mightiest among them is Melkor, but that he may know, and all the Ainur, that I am Iluvatar, those things that ye have sung, I will show them forth, that ye may see what ye have done. And thou, Melkor, shalt see that no theme may be played that hath not its uttermost source in me. For nor can any alter the music in my despite. For he that attempteth this shall prove but mine instrument, in the devising of things more wonderful, which he himself has not imagined. The reason I wanted to read this is the first sort of rebellion against God in this writing is that Melkor decides that he's going to sing his own tune. That God, the One, is devising all of creation through music with the archangels. And the one archangel decides, I'm going to sing what I want that is against God. I will make my own music. And to the rest of the angels it sounded terrible. To which this response was given, that you cannot sing something that doesn't ultimately come from me. And even if you do sing something that you think is opposite to my will, I will weave it together in a way that proves that you were only my tool. That you have only served my greater purpose. For I am God, and I have created you. And we look at this in the idea of eucatastrophe, that if something calamitous has to happen in order for something good to come after that, then we can see the very feast today that we celebrate this restoration of icons as the same thing. That somewhere the devil put into somebody's head that they should destroy and get rid of our icons. That they should take this from us. And it happened. Our churches were attacked, they were broken into. People's homes were broken into, their icons taken and smashed or burned or scraped or cut, whatever they might have been made out of, to sort of, in the mind of other people who were attacking them, to purge our wrongness. But yet we endured. We hid our icons, we kept them, we would sort of store them away so they couldn't be found. We worshipped in secret so that we could keep this alive. And ultimately, what this day serves to do is to bring us together. Because if you go to the Vespers tonight, and I hope you do, you'll recognize that it's not just a Slavic church that's there, it's all of our churches. It is our Russian church, our Ukrainian brethren, it is our Greek brethren, we as Orthodox. And it's very easy to get wrapped up in the idea that we should be against one another. That my heritage makes me better than somebody else. That the way in which I practice the liturgy, or the language in which I do it, makes it more right than another language. And it's very easy to let these things divide us. And so, in small form of Eucatastrophe, what has been given to us is the idea that as icons were taken away from us, we now, in their restoration, have a day in which we celebrate the unity of orthodoxy from that. And we wouldn't have that. Just think, if icons had never been attacked, why would we ever make a day that we can all get together and celebrate as one Orthodox faith if we didn't have this sort of feast day? One has to happen to have the other. In order for us to celebrate our unity, we had to understand that that unity was taken from us. In order for us to understand the glory of icons, we had to realize what it was like to not have them. And in order for us to come together to proclaim what we will at tonight's service, the ultimate belief of the Orthodox faith. We will recite the creed together. We will express the proclamation of orthodoxy together. If we didn't have this calamity afflict our church, we would not all stand as one and say this together. We would not bring forth the belief and the understanding that we as Orthodoxy are strong, that we as Orthodoxy are unified together, and that we as Orthodoxy have something good to bring to the world and to our souls. And so remember that when things seem terrible, when things seem that God is not there, or there is no part that God is playing in it, that God's ultimate Eucatastrophe will eventually vindicate us. That there is nothing that can be sung, there is nothing that can be done that does not have its ultimate source in God, and that will not ultimately prove to be God's tool to better enhance His own glory in His creation. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory be to Jesus Christ.